How you doing? This is Billy. So we're going to be discussing today some of the things I learned from Moore County blackouts. Right? Don't live in the area, but I work in the area. Due to the nature of my job, I was knee deep in this stuff. So in case the person listening to it don't know, there was a terrorist attack on a couple power substations a Saturday evening. Knocked out 45,000 people without power. The particular area that I was working in was without power from about 8:30 Saturday night to about 4:30, 4 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. All right. So I think I'm just going to talk about power generation in this video. All right. So my job, all right. I'm a maintenance man for a rather large HOA, right? I double as security as well. Have a little bit of medical background or training, let's say. Not much, first aid, bloodborne, few other things, stop the bleed. Nothing serious, nowhere near, EMT, but a little bit more than a civilian. So anyway, main jobs, maintenance. One of the first things that we had to take care of when all this started, one of the first things we had to take care of was making sure that all the major areas that had power going to it that just randomly got shut off, that all the breakers were pulled. Right? Especially if you got commercial buildings, high voltage. Yeah, power comes back up out of nowhere, can cause major issues. Same with your house, right? Something you got to think about. Power just starts fluttering, noisy power, can blow hot water heaters, can blow TVs, can blow all kinds of stuff. Power goes out, first thing you should do is kill that main breaker. So when the power comes back on, you can set it yourself without something weird happening, right? Make sure that the lights outside, street lights, when they come on, make sure they're not fluttering and flashing and are an odd color, right? I call it noisy power. I'm sure somebody smarter than me has a better way of saying it, right? Some of the issues right out the bat we started seeing faulty generators, right? In the community I work in, it's a rather large HOA. The HOA owns a lot of, has its own infrastructure, has their own maintenance, their own security, um, you know, large infrastructure. We're not going to get into more than that. But the residents, they depend on some of us, especially us on call. They can't get an electrician out there at 3 o'clock in the morning during an emergency, right? So we might run over there to give them a hand, but that's not our primary job. Our primary job is to make sure that the HOA's buildings and facilities are taken care of. But anyway, something that was real apparent quickly was a lot of generators had not been serviced properly and are installed properly. Now we're talking about permanent generators, okay, not ones on wheels. All right. Now we experienced quite a few that were too close to the house, had exhaust going the wrong way, and on it going towards the house, and on a normal running operating generator, it's not ideal, but it's not death causing, right? But when that generator's not working properly because it hasn't been maintained or ran in a year, right, it starts pumping out so much CO2 that even if it's 30, 40 feet away from the house, it'll get in your house. And if you ain't got CO2 checkers, it'll kill you. Um, there was one family, fortunately enough, they had a CO2 checker, but CO2 was so bad in their house, and we're talking like 1 o'clock in the morning. Young family, we would have been burying 5 people, if it weren't for that CO2 checker. And this is a permanent affixed generator installed by professionals, right? So, a couple things to know. Try to keep the generator 50, 60 feet away from the house. Try not to have the exhaust pointing into, like if your house makes an L shape, alcove or something like that. Try to make sure that the exhaust is pointing away from that, right? And for the love of God, CO2 checkers are $49.99. They run off batteries. You can hang them on the wall right there at where the generator's at. No big deal, right? It's important. Something else, right? Portable generators. You need to understand electricity. If you have a portable generator, you need to know how far you need to have it from the house. At least 25 feet at a minimum. With a portable generator, they don't put out as much CO2, and you can direct where the exhaust goes. But you want at least 25 feet away from the house and the exhaust pointing away from the house. But you need to know how much voltage drop you have on your cords, how much power you can pull through your cords. What exactly are you going to power? Okay? What are you expecting to power? See, these are things you need to think right now. Not when the power's out, right? No. You try powering your refrigerator or something on a, 16 gauge little bitty drop cord pulling 60 feet. You're going to damage something, if not start a fire. You need to know your voltage drop. You need to know how much amperage can pull through what size drop cord, and so on and so forth. And those plans need to be thought out now. They don't need to be happening during a blackout. If you're trying to take care of yourself during a blackout or hurricane or something, no power, and you start a generator, the last thing that EMS and fire or the hospital needs when they're dealing with this, serious issue is some knucklehead causing more issues because they didn't think through what they're doing with their generators. All right. So look, a 12 gauge, most time yellow, 12 gauge drop cord, okay, 100 feet can carry safely 15 amps. Right? They say 20, but not over 100 feet. That's 50. Right? 15 amps at 100 feet. All right? Yeah, and you start getting voltage drop after that, right? You're already losing 3% at 100 feet. But if you're pulling max 15 amps, that might be an issue. That might be an issue. So, try for 10 gauge wires. So you can pull the full 20 amps if you have to, over 100 feet. Think about these things. Now, research them now. Google works, right? Just Google what voltage drop is. How to understand it. Go ahead and figure out your plan now. So, when you're in trouble, when the world's in trouble, you're not one of those people with your hand out. I'm going to get into a lot more depth about this because, we had one hell of a week. We pulled over 70 hours in the course of 5 days, trying to care for this community of people. And so there's a lot of lessons learned, man, a lot of lessons learned. But I hope to start with this one. Y'all have a good day now.